Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, today we're going to be reviewing the two scintillating games which took place over the weekend. Chelsea versus Aston Villa, where, of course, absolute madness over there at Stamford Bridge. Aston Villa coming away 2-0 winners. And then Man City running away winners over Liverpool. Now, joining me this evening to review these two games, we have returning to the platform, Carey.
Yes, viewers and subscribers. I said, I would stay off until Arsenal lose, but that doesn't seem like it's happening anytime soon. So we just have to give you guys a surprise visit. So here we are again.
Yes, sir. Welcome. And of course, returning, we have Sugar Belly.
Yeah, greetings, viewers and subscribers.
And we also have Leon.
Greetings, viewers and subscribers.
All right, gents, let's kick it off. Chelsea, that was the talking point, the big game on the weekend. That's where all eyes went. Sugar Belly, I'm going to bring you in from the jump. Talk to us about that game, and we see where Potter got the sack. What say you?
No surprise there in that Aston Villa game. It was the same old story we've seen since October, so no surprise there as we fell victim once again to another club in and around the same position as us on the league table. So in general it was a fairly decent match. First half was very balanced. Aston Villa was seeking to counter us, and that they did late in the first half, quality goal there. So it's the same old story. No surprise. Potter is now out, and I am looking forward to life after Potter, definitely.
Life after Potter. Oh, how the pendulum swing on so quickly. But Carey, you saw this one as well, and we saw Aston Villa as predicted by Sniper, who was on the preview show. He called it, he gave us his breakdown of the Chelsea and the Aston Villa team and made the conclusion that Aston Villa should take this one, and not only take this one, but by losing out and dropping into the bottom half of the table, Potter job would have been in trouble. And we see where the owners of Chelsea have really pulled the trigger, have lost patience. Carey, I'll bring in at this point. What are your thoughts on the sacking and indeed on the result over the weekend?
Well, as I said, the result comes as no surprise to us. This is a Chelsea that, honestly, sadly, that we have become accustomed to. This is a Chelsea that we're seeing of late. It doesn't matter if it's home or away, we don't really expect them to get much of a result. Against Aston Villa, they were fighting for 10th, so mid-table clash. We didn't expect much from Chelsea. I've been calling for Potter to be sacked for a minute now, because as I said, from one of the jump starts of the podcast is that we have yet to see Potter actually put any stamp or any identity to this Chelsea team. And he's been there from October, and up to this point, we still haven't seen what Potter has done to that Chelsea squad. We haven't seen anything whatsoever. So it's about time. To be honest, as an Arsenal fan, we wish Potter would have stayed a bit longer at Chelsea, because we don't see them that far down the table, especially to see where we are. But it's a club with ambition, so we expect them to bounce back. Aston Villa went out, got the job done. As I said, the result came as no surprise. Potter sacking, no surprise. If you ask me, it came a bit late in my eyes.
Okay, well, it will definitely be interesting to see who Chelsea choose as a replacement for Potter. Leon, I'll bring you in at this point. How did you see this one, and who are some of the potential names that you're thinking Chelsea may bring in as a Potter replacement?
I'm thinking Nagelsmann. I think that's probably one of the main reasons why Potter got the sack this week, because as I mentioned last week, I wasn't sure if they were gonna sack him this week because on previous form when they won about 5 out of 2 or 3 out of 10, I thought if they were gonna sack him then they would have done it. But Bayern pulled the plug on Nagelsmann and there's a good coach available, so I thought that was the main reason why they got the sack. A very expensive signing because I think they paid 25 mil to get him from Brighton because I think his contract is going to be like 65 when they paid out. So they were trying to change the culture, but it didn't work. Potter didn't help himself. Baffling decisions, playing the three at the back with only one centre back playing and their wing backs playing centre back. I just think Potter was probably out of his depth. Very good coach, but I don't think he was ready for the jump at Chelsea.
Yes, it was a very odd decision in terms of player selection. In terms of how the Chelsea team lined up and the player personnel that was playing centre back, wing backs, the balance seemed not to be the correct one. And I mean, you have to live or die by your decisions as a coach. And we've seen the
Hmm.
end of the Potter era at Chelsea, a very short reign, I must say. But Kerry, from a tactical point of view, how did you see this one? We are talking about Chelsea, but Aston Villa must be given some credit as well. What did Aston Villa did well to carve out this win?
Yeah, man. You can say that Aston Villa has a good coach. You could say that. With the team that he has, the squad that he has available, he's trying to make things tick. So we have to give credit where credit is due. We see the change in the midfield, the defending in the midfield kind of show that there is a vision, there is a plan, there is a tactic, because we saw players dropping deep at times and switching out to the wings. And then we saw, as I said, with the selection that Potter made, and Leon stated that, you have your wing backs playing center backs and you have two of your best center backs on the bench. But yes, I want to give Aston Villa credit and they deserve to be given credit.
Mm.
But Chelsea made it a bit easy. Potter squad selection made it a bit easy because I honestly think the Chelsea players were even confused what was happening. And as far as we hear what's happening or coming out of the club into the media, it's basically so like Potter really lost. He lost the dressing room. He lost his assistants. He lost his voice basically at the club. So yes, Aston Villa deserve credit. They've been doing this a bit inconsistent. They got the win against Chelsea, but I think Potter made it a bit easy for them with his squad selection.
Yes, some baffling decisions there. And of course, that first Ole Watkins goal was a calamity by the centre back pairing. Both defenders going for the same ball, and the striker was there to pounce on the mistake. But Sugar Belly, how did you see this one tactically? I know it might be a little difficult for you in this moment, to break it down, but tactically, how did you see it? And, in terms of player selection, talk to us.
Well, tactically, I think Potter got it horribly wrong. As you said, we could see on that first goal where Koulibaly and Cucurella made the absolute hash of it. Very poor communication. It is as if they didn't know where they were. Both players going for the ball. That one peeling off Cucurella's head going over to the striker, and it's a goal. Brilliant gift from us.
Definitely,
Um,
Christmas came early there for Ole Watkins.
Yes, and even in the second half, Aston Villa still continued to press our buttons. They knew where to take us apart. And we also see them creating another excellent goal there from outside the box by John McGinn. Excellent finish once again. So Aston Villa were really dominant tactically. Emery clearly did his homework, and Potter lineup was very questionable from the get-go. We saw where Reece James was playing centre back. I thought personally Badia Sheila, who has been playing very well at centre back, would have filled in. for that injured Fofana. We see previously where he has used Cucurella at centre back to good effect, but that also backfired on the weekend. So it was a tale of Potter since he has been at Chelsea failing to get it correct, and that's what continued that Saturday, and it culminated in him losing that job, you know.
Yes, definitely. Many are sad to see him go, and many are celebrating, you know.
Definitely.
But Leon, what say you tactically and also from a team selection? I know in the preview, Sugar Belly had spoken about the midfield battle in particular. How did you see the midfield battle shake out? You know, we saw the big name signings, the Enzos, you know, versus the Muggins. How did it shake out for you?
I think the only person sad to see him go is the rival fans, to be honest, because he was doing a wonderful job for us. But tactic, I just have to agree with Sugar Belly. The lineup was poor. Even their most creative player, that's Joe Felix, he's been starting in the midfield. Potter put him at strike. So there was against a 3 versus 2 in the midfield. Kovacic can cover ground, but not much. We know that Enzo isn't that player. Also, is more technical to get on the ball to spread it. So I think John McGinn, Buendia, and Kamara, they just had a field day indeed. I saw Kamara with loads of space. Even Douglas Luiz. I think he was the one that sprayed that ball for Cucurella mistake. I just I think they overpowered Chelsea in the midfield, even though Chelsea had majority of the possession, but I just think they let them have it and they pressed them aggressively to force turnovers, and even I saw Loftus-Cheek getting on some lovely chances, and I know if it was Reece James starting in the original position, it would be much more dangerous for Chelsea. So I just think this match was won and lost by the coaches as we predicted, and each Aston Villa knew what to do. I think the Chelsea players was trying to figuring it out on the pitch, and you could see that one team was tactically well drilled, while the other was just playing football, I guess.
Yes, and the result pretty much told the story, you know. Aston Villa running away 2-0 winners there. But let's now segue over to the next big game, which took place over the weekend. Liverpool versus Man City. Liverpool going ahead in that one, but then Man City hitting back, and Liverpool had no response. Kerry, what say you? How did you see that one? You know, as league leaders, Arsenal continue their dominance. You know, talk to us.
Well, to be honest, we were a bit hopeful when Salah, made the game 1-0 because, of course, we don't want City to get any points, or even a draw would have been suffice for us, to be honest, even just a point. But then I've been saying it from the start of the season that Trent isn't the Trent that has been showing himself for the past couple seasons. I've been saying that Trent is a very attacking player. I know that he's been failing to produce any goal or assist contributions. We're now seeing his defensive flaws being really showed up because Grealish had him, Grealish had him weak for the entire 90 minutes, to be honest. And I think that's where it really, really went bad for Liverpool. From once Grealish got it, Grealish was my man of the match. From Grealish got it, he went straight at Trent. He didn't think about passing first. He got it, it was straight at Trent. And that's where most of the attacking plays came from. I wish it ended 1-0 with the Salah goal, but Liverpool, as Leon emphasized, week in, week out, is a very hot and cold team. You don't know what you're going to get from Liverpool. And started out hot, but you went ice cold within seconds. So it is what it is, but we keep on fighting.
Yes, definitely. We could say a cold Liverpool turned up on the day, you know. But Sugar Belly, what say you? You did predict a 3-1 City win, so this result should not necessarily come as any surprise. But what were your
Well,
overall overview on the game?
the only surprise was that this was a Haaland-less City. So it was very remarkable by their standards. Julian Alvarez had a wonderful game as well. You know, he scored a goal as well. Jack Grealish, as Kerry mentioned, was the man for the 90 minutes. He constantly pressured that right hand side of Liverpool, and Mahrez on the other hand jarred the players. So for the first goal, that City equalizer, we could see him cutting inside, playing it across to Jack Grealish, who created the goal from that side as well. So it was a brilliant game, well executed by Man City. Even through that early scare, I think Liverpool early out were threatening on the counter attack, but eventually City grew into the game and controlled proceedings from there. And we saw them run out 4-1 winners.
Yes, I must agree to a large extent. And in fact, from the game I saw, Liverpool, even though they took the lead, took a very long time to settle into the game. They were pretty much starved of possession in the first 25 minutes. You know, it really took a long time for them to really put together a few passes. But Leon, how did you see this one?
I predicted a 2-0, and I think it went to what most of us thought it would. I think the early goal was just, I think that was even against the run of play. And City didn't even look phased by it. They knew that Liverpool was there for the taking. And I think what Liverpool did well previous seasons to give Man City a challenge was because their pressure. I think because Man City is a possession-based team, I think if you want to get something from them, you would have to pressure them, get them unsettled on the ball. And we know Liverpool doesn't have the legs for that. And even Kerr was saying Trent looks different. I think this is how Trent always has always been looking. The difference is Liverpool isn't really a dominant team anymore. So defensively, he's been asked much more questions
So you're, you're,
than
you're technically saying Trent is like a system footballer then. He
not
can
really,
only operate in certain systems.
not really. I'm just saying that well, previous seasons, Liverpool didn't really had most of the ball. Trent was mostly attacking, not defending. So his
Mhm.
strong suit is the attacking part of it. And this season, he's been coming into question a lot more defensively, which he's failed a lot of
And so,
times. Even previous seasons, I think he did well defensively, but this season is just he's not coming out well for him, really.
yes, I believe rival managers may very well be targeting that side of the Liverpool defense to, attack and try to expose the flaws that a young, might I add, a young Trent Arnold Alexander may be exposed to. Oftentimes we see these footballers, but we have to remember these are also youngsters who are at the start of their careers, even though they have displayed such great grit and winning a league title, a Champions League, a Club World Cup at such an early age, we can only see that they will get better over time. But Kerry, I'll bring you in at this point. From a tactical point of
Yeah.
view, did you see anything different from Pep? Pep is usually pulling a rabbit out of the hat at times. How did you see this one from a tactical point of view? It was a City team without Haaland, I gather, due to injury. Did City look better or worse without Haaland?
All right. Soon get to that, but I find it so interesting that all of a sudden Trent is getting criticism and you're playing that, oh, remember Trent is young, but for the last 2 years when he was winning, he was the best in defense. But now he's all of a sudden young
Well,
and has
the
his
numbers don't lie, I believe Trent is what, 23, 22, 23 years old? I would
yeah,
consider that
but
young in the life of a footballer, and for one so young to achieve so much so early, the sky is really the limit. It can only get better. So while yes, his defensive flaws may be shown up, there's always room for improvement.
well, that is true, and he has a lot to do. So let's see what happens for the rest of the season. Tactically, Haaland out, Alvarez came in. For me personally, I think Man City looked more fluid because at one point we saw KD be floating around. He's not necessarily just looking for Haaland. It's not a static forward they're playing with Alvarez, if KDB float around Maris, floated here and there. So we're seeing a City that that we kind of got accustomed to for the past couple of years, playing without us out and out striker. Kind of hard to man mark because they're switching positions ever so often in that midfield. They're playing the false nine here and there because at one point we saw KDB in the false nine, and then before you look, it was Mahrez. Then Alvarez was back in the false nine again, and it was causing a lot of havoc for Liverpool because they could not. They tried man marking at one point, and they simply could not keep up with the rotation, in-game rotation from Man City. The fluid movement really caught them off guard. So honestly, to me, City look quite fine. Same Pep as usual, same tactics. It's just that the movement in the final third is much more different without Haaland there.
Yes, different movements, same result. The City train continues to ride and the pressure at the top of the table is still on. So the question to you, Sugar Belly, is on the back of this result, can Man City win the league?
Personally, I think Arsenal is in pole position. I do not see Arsenal conceding this league title to Man City. So that is that for me. Barring both teams have each other to play, I think by that time Arsenal may have been on their way, probably an 11-point gap. Games are coming thick and fast. I still think City are feeling the pressure because of that points gap. So let's see how they handle it. They are a very experienced team. I'm not sure if they had experienced this kind of pressure before in the league over these 6 years they have been dominant, but Arsenal really staking their claim, looking like a championship team week in, week out. I think most people are expecting Arsenal to get some sort of blip for the past few weeks, but Arsenal still comes out week time and blow away the opponent. So it's hard to see City crawling back to this one.
Yes, very bold statement there. You're showing a lot of confidence in the Gunners title run there, Sugar Belly. But Leon, we've now seen 13 managers bite the dust. Will Klopp on the back of this result be the 14th to go?
Never, never. Klopp has done too much for Liverpool, really, to bite the dust. As he said in his press conference about the recent sacking, the elephant in the room is him. But we see Klopp going through these other seasons. I just think Klopp has too much in the bank right now. I think he can get it fixed, but not this season. But next season we should see a resurgent Liverpool. And I just think they have to just see out the season and cope it as how they see. Try get some results. Try and play in the new signings for them to get more accustomed to the league and just look forward to the future. Just do what you can this season, but I don't think Klopp will be there next season for sure.
Yes, we can only hope. There's only one way for Liverpool to go now, and that's up. But as Sugar Belly made mention, the games are coming thick and fast. And even this midweek, we have a number of fixtures taking place in the EPL as well. We see Chelsea playing host to Liverpool. Sugar Belly, a quick word on that though. Just a quick overview. What can the fans look forward to in that one? With a now managerless Chelsea versus a very hot and cold Liverpool?
Yes, similar to the reverse fixture, both teams still struggling on the table. Chelsea now in the bottom half, however. Liverpool still outside that European position. So it's very difficult for both teams. Both teams having a very difficult season. Chelsea having 10 games left. I think by this point now we're just going through the motion trying to close out this disappointing season. I don't see Chelsea really putting out much going into these final fixtures. I think most of these Chelsea players are focusing on the Champions League quarterfinal against Madrid, which is basically our only chance of redemption. So that's where it is at the moment. We have appointed an interim manager, so we're looking forward as well to see how he comes in and changes things. Maybe our fortunes might change, maybe not. So that is it for the season, though, definitely.
Yes, Chelsea in a rebuilding state currently, pretty much digging up or ripping up the foundation and starting from scratch. But Leon, we saw a major upset taking place over the weekend. Man United losing to Newcastle, who also surpassed them in the league table. And we see another big game coming up for Man United, United versus Brentford. How do you see that one? And a quick overview on the weekend's result.
For the match against Newcastle, I just think without Casemiro and really Ericsson, I just think that Man United lack a lot of technical footballers. There's no one really to circle the ball. So it always ends up into a back and forth game when like our major players isn't there. And I think Ten Hag has done as much as he can this season for us without our major players. And at that match, I knew we weren't going to win. The only positive is that I rather lose this one than the cup final. So I guess Newcastle can celebrate with this one. So and for Brentford, it's just that's Brentford is a very good. I think they gave us like 4-0 before halftime early season. So it's a very dangerous game in the form that we're in. But Ten Hag seems to be able to get responses out of his players after a loss. So we can really hope for that and hope that he doesn't play Scott McTominay in the middle again because I don't know what that guy does but kick around. But it's just I'm just waiting to see the match first. Yeah, I'm not sure our technical ability is so low without our main players. It's just a back and forth game, and hopefully Rashford turns up, Bruno turns up at this point. But
Yes, not so confidently, and they're giving us his take. But Kerry, I'll bring you in at this point. What's your final word on this weekend's action? We see the games coming fast. Teams are now leveling up in terms of the number of games played. So give us your overview on this weekend's actions and how do you see the title race panning out from here on in?
Honestly, I think the title race will go down to the wire, to be honest. We have seen Man City, they do it year in, year out. They're catching form now at the right time for Champions League. They're catching form to put on that pressure on Arsenal. Credit to Arsenal though, because they are questioned week in, week out, and they're showing that listen, it's a different mentality, We're not buckling under this pressure. Well, they haven't so far, so hopefully they maintain it. The Man U Brentford match should be a cracker. We should be a cracker. Tony is in the form of his life, probably betting on himself once again. So Chelsea, Liverpool. Honestly, we don't expect much from Chelsea, Liverpool. It's probably going to be a scrappy affair, probably a 2-2. Both teams can't defend. So I'll see it as a 2-2, but a very scrappy affair.
just throw a dice for that one.
Okay, roll the dice on that one. Final word from you, Sugar Belly.
Yeah, going into this Chelsea-Liverpool game, I don't expect much. I expect the same as the previous fixture, as I said earlier. So it's really pre-season for Chelsea, basically, at this point. So.
Pre-season within the season.
A very early pre-season. So hopefully by the summer, things will have been settled. A new manager would have come in. And
yes, indeed, Sugar Belly. Not to cut you, but speaking of new manager, as a Chelsea fan, who would be your choice of a manager to come in? I had asked Leon this question. He had mentioned Nagelsmann. That's the former Bayern Munich coach. But for you as a Chelsea fan, who would be your favored manager to come in at this point?
Well, at this point, I'd say Nagelsmann as well.
Mm.
He has formed a relationship with our technical director. Um, as well, we have players who are coming in who were previously managed by him. Nkunku is a brilliant example.
Mm.
So I think he's a young manager as well. It's a young Chelsea team. I think at this point, he might fit the profile. He has experienced success at Bayern Munich, another big club, unlike a Potter who was coming from the ground up. So I think Nagelsmann at this point is the best replacement, definitely.
Okay, Nagelsmann. Yes, it will definitely be fascinating to see who is selected to fill that void there. But Leon, what's your final word on the weekend's action?
It was just a good week of football. You win some, you lose some. I think Arsenal, brilliant as usual, and Saka didn't even start this match, so their
Mm.
most informed player not starting
Rotation there by Arteta, showing the
and I think
depth in squad.
I think Man City is trying to play a lot of mind games because every week I see a different City player coming out talking about how good Arsenal is, hoping they may drop the ball or something. But I think it will go down to the wire, as Kerry said. But I don't think Arsenal has shown anything of stopping. I think they're up to the challenge, and it should be exciting.
Well, there
Exciting
you
matches.
have it.
Yeah.
There you have it, viewers and subscribers. Thank you again for tuning in to us here on Beating the Press podcast. I'd just like to extend my thanks to Carey, Sugarbelly, Leon for again coming on, sharing their opinions, sharing their perspectives. Again, we look forward to another exciting week of football action. And until next time, this is Rafa signing off.